What's up, guys? Back with another video. So I know y'all been waiting on this because you got your CTPs and all that good stuff. So hopefully this will help you out. Now, most of these CTPs don't have to be reforged, like the energy, the judgment, and the rage. So, and the insight. So those CTPs, if you have one, that's cool. You can go ahead and give it to a character. They don't have to be reforged, but they'll get a little bit better once they do. The rest of them have to be reforged. They don't have to be a brilliant. They can be a mighty for right now. So we will go over the ones that have to be reforged to be even usable. All right, so first off, we're going to go ahead and start with the PvP CTPs. All right, first off, we're going to start off with the regeneration. So, like I said, this one has to be reforged to either get the all attack or the penetration. So, I'm going to give my very unbiased opinion on this one. This CTP has lost its value recently, but it still has some good effects on it, like guard break, immunity, shield, HP, all that good stuff. Penetration if you need it. So, I'll at least give you at least the top 10, 5 to 10 characters that could make use of a CTP of regeneration, a mighty or a brilliant. All right. First off, we're going to go ahead and start with Gladiator. Now, he is a native tier 2 character, epic quest character that you have to spend crystals for to unlock. But Gladiator is really good. He is a lead for all allies with increased all basic attack. He does have some PvP value. As you can see, he does have penetration. He has a barrier. He does have a heal also, and damage immunity and invincible. I thought he had an iframe at Nor, but he doesn't. He has accumulation on his tier 3. His tier 4 increases his physical attack. He has the auto heal, super armor on defense, and damage reduction. But you can use mighty regen on him because of the high HP he does have for like otherworld battle and conquest. He can do a little bit of PvP, but I will not try it. That's just like if anybody else is banned. So Gladiator is like on the bottom of the list for the mighty or brilliant CTP of regeneration. All right, next up on the list is Franklin. Now I know when he first came out, you had to spend money to get him, but now he's like 5,200 crystals to get the extra emblems also. But if you do have Franklin, and if you can at least get your hands on a 6-star artifact, at least, you could definitely make him work in like Otherworld Battle or AC with the other Fantastic Four, because he gives them the undead passive for like 4 seconds on a 6-star artifact. But he can definitely use a mighty CTP of regeneration. He does have super armor on defense, damage reduction. As you can see, he does have a 40% heal for 1 second and increases 40% of max HP for 7 seconds. So he does have a pretty good passive, and that's when his HP is below 40. And he has another heal, 30% heal on the 5th. He has accumulation, stuff like that. So Franklin does have some properties for PvP, but mainly for Otherworld Battle, like I said, with the artifact if you do have it. So he's on the bottom of my list for the CTP of regeneration. As you can see, I already have one on him with the all attack and all defense. Next up on the list is the Thing, another Fantastic Four member. As you can see, all combats have a high pool of HP, but he does have also support passive. He has a damage reduction. He has a heal also, 10%. I know it's low, He does have another one on the 3rd, so 20% heal. So he could definitely make do with a mighty or brilliant regeneration for like AC or Otherworld battle. If you had a Fantastic Four team, don't have the artifact, but it like gives them all attack or something like that. But the thing is definitely a good support. Definitely could do some work with a mighty regeneration because of all the HP he does have. Next up on the list is Icon, the free-to-play speed character. Definitely a good choice for the CTP of regeneration. Let's see, where is it at? Her 4-star passive, she does have reflect and damage reduction. I thought she had a heal. Well, she does have a heal, I think. She has a counterattack iframe ignore. She has a 25% heal on the 4th. And she has invincible. The artifact, I don't have the artifact, but it does boost her healing. So that's why I said she's really good for mighty CTP of regeneration. As you can see, I already have one. I do have penetration. Because she does not have penetration on... I think she does have penetration on her skills. No, she does not. She does not have penetration at all. So that's why I re-rolled it to penetration to give her that little bit of push. So Icon is another one for a mighty or brilliant regeneration for Otherworld battle or a... Now I know there's a lot of AC and Otherworld battle characters on here because timeline is like flooded with Silver Surfer, Sentry, Wolverine, and Thanos and stuff like that. So we'll get to those in a minute. But next on the list is Luke Cage with the Uptown suit. Now this guy was meta for a while in PvP. All because of that 5th skill. Has an iframe ignore. I know he has a 50% chance to penetrate. But he does have a heal also on his 4-star passive. And he does have an accumulation. No, it's the 3rd skill where he accumulates and just lets it rip. And he does deal reflect, and he has 30% increase of max HP and damage reduction. So I don't have... He doesn't even have an artifact yet. So that's going to be really good once he gets one. But as you can see, I just have a regular regeneration because I only use him for like AC. Other than that, though, he could definitely work with a mighty or a brilliant because of his HP, high HP, and his skill set. All right, new to the list, on my list, Hulkbuster. Now, granted, he was kind of a flop for PvP, but what do you expect? He's a combat facing off against Sentry, Silver Surfer, and Wolverine, of all people. But as you can see, he does have a high HP pool. Definitely make him work for AC or Otherworld battle if you ever get the chance to use him for that content. He does have a 4-star passive for machine types with 35% increase of max HP. He has a 20% heal on the 4th, a barrier, and that's it really. But don't have the artifact. But as you can see, I do got a mighty regeneration on it with the penetration. He could definitely make it work. And this uniform is a lot better than the old one. So, yeah, you could team up with Rescue, Iron Man, and War Machine, and Cable, because they all like machines. But other than that, though, a mighty CTP of regeneration could benefit. Next on the list, I know it's an old uniform. It's for story mode. Wolverine. If you don't have Conquest or Greed or an Authority, then the mighty or brilliant CTP of regeneration would be the next best thing for your Wolverine. Because of the HP. As you know, he has the healing factor, the super armor defense. And he has penetration on the 5th. Well, not on this uniform. Sorry. Yeah, this uniform right here. As you see, he has I-frame ignore on the 5th. He has the I-frame ignore on the 5, which is a very long skill, which is very good. He has the penetration on that. Yeah, he doesn't have a heal anywhere else except for his passive. So, like I said, the regen will be the very last option for your Wolverine. If you do have the artifact, he does have the undead passive, so that'll be really good to kind of counterbalance the regeneration. But Wolverine, probably top 2 with this CTP. Last but not least on this list, Thanos. Thanos, with this uniform, Thanos wins, especially if you have him tier 4. I need to get mine tier 4 especially. He's really a monster. He is a monster. If you give him a regeneration, as you can see, he has a passive heal for 20% on 1 second. So he's steadily healing for 20%. His leadership is pretty decent. Let's see. I think he has another heal. No, he does not. Yeah, he does on the first skill because it has I-frame ignore. He has another 25% heal with the 80% chance to penetrate. So if you give him like an all defense, all basic attack, mighty or brilliant regeneration, then he could definitely make it work. Because of that I-frame ignore skill, he's very powerful, and he has a definite good artifact because it does increase his HP by a certain percent. Depends on how many stars you have it. As you can see, I have a 5-star, and he has an increase of HP by 13%. So Thanos will be a good choice for a mighty or brilliant. Next up on the list is the Mighty CTP of Authority. Now this CTP does have to be reforged. And you probably want the steel effect because it does have damage reduction on it and concentration. So you definitely want to have the steel effect and have it reforged. So we're going to get into the characters that could benefit from this CTP. All right, starting at the bottom, we have Spider-Man back to basics. He's a very old meta, but like I said, if they ever ban a couple of the heavy hitters, then Spider-Man could definitely do some work for you with a mighty or brilliant authority. Now, I should have added him to the list of the mighty or brilliant regeneration, but mighty or brilliant authority with the steel effect is just good. Because he does have, I think he has, yep, he has I-frame ignore on the 4. He does have a 30% heal, 70% chance to penetrate, so that's really good. And he also has a self-heal once he's down to 50%, so give him that extra damage reduction, then he could definitely do it for you, especially with the artifact because he has a lot of dodge on it. So Spider-Man is at the bottom of the mighty or brilliant authority, but he could still do something for you, especially in Otherworld and AC. Next up on the list is Hela. Now, Hela is definitely good for timeline battle, Otherworld, AC, and World Boss. I did do a video a while back with Hela with a mighty authority, and she still did it with the PvP build. That was crazy. Especially if you have her artifact. She has the undead passive also, so you could definitely make it work. I can see she has a damage reduction also, so you can stack it. Super armor on defense. She does reflect all attacks and has more damage reduction from reflected effects. So she could definitely take advantage of the mighty or brilliant authority. Now you could do a hybrid, but if you want to go full PvP, the mighty authority is the way with Hela. All right, next up on the list is my boy Quicksilver. Apparently they can't get the boy right. But maybe if you give him the tier 4, he could probably do something for you. Because of his striker skill, you can see he dodges and increases his all attack. So that's probably where all his power lies in his tier 4. He does have 70% chance to penetrate in all defense. He has accumulation. He does have iframe ignore, 30% heal, invincible. But he does not have damage reduction. That's the only thing about Quicksilver. Just because he can dodge so much, but he will still need that damage reduction from a mighty or brilliant authority. His artifact also like Spider-Man where he dodges, but definitely give him that to boost up his defenses because he is kind of weak. So like I said, with the still effect, you can give him a little leeway. As you can see, his defenses are very, very low. So he could definitely take advantage of a mighty authority. All right, next up, going back in with Thanos. As you can see, he does have a lot of defense. He does have a lot of damage reduction also. But the mighty or brilliant authority could make him a whole lot tankier, a whole lot harder to kill. So Thanos will be a pretty good, decent choice for a mighty authority also. Next up on the list, I have Madeline Pryor. Granted, she's an epic quick character for 7,700 crystals. But she was pretty decent in timeline just for a little bit. But like I said, if all the heavy hitters are banned or whatever, you can definitely make a team around her. Because she does have the remove all debuffs on her leadership. Now her tier 4 though is where her money lies also with the recovery of HP. So she could definitely make it work. She has a super armor defense, 50% chance to penetrate, another heal, a barrier, iframe ignore, another heal. So you could definitely give her a mighty or a brilliant CTP of authority. She does have damage reduction, so that's good. Give her a little bit more, make her a little bit tankier. But like I said, she could definitely make a mighty or a brilliant CTP. All right, new to the list, I'm going to go ahead and say Dakin. I'm going to put Dakin on this list because he does have some PvP value, especially if you get your hands on his artifact, which is very nice. His tier 2 passive, he does have a little bit of damage reduction, so he could definitely take advantage of more with the still effect. You can see he has a lot of healing. He does have accumulation. He does have the iframe ignore on the 3rd skill, so that would definitely help him out with defensive wise. So the mighty or brilliant authority could definitely help Dakin out. And definitely an honorable mention with the mighty or brilliant regeneration too. Keep that in mind. Last but not least, we're going with Silver Surfer with the Void Knight. I'm still not too big on Silver Surfer. I still use him like as fodder, I guess. I got my dude like maxed out and he still can't overcome most characters, but that's probably like for my build, like my swords and all the other stuff. But he is still definitely good. As you can see, the defenses are pretty stacked, especially got him tier 4. He does have a lot of damage reduction and reflect, so he could make a mighty authority work. He does have a revive, remove all debuffs, invincible, another counter attack, iframe ignore with the heal, so he could definitely make a mighty CTP of authority work. It just kind of tricky, and that would probably be your last resort, Silver Surfer. Next up on the list, we have the mighty CTP of Greed. Now you'll definitely want the ambush effect on this, where it ignores the enemy's damage reduction. So you definitely want the ambush effect on the mighty or brilliant Greed. It does have a heal, and it has guard break and ignore dodge, and it either flip-flops between the speed, universal, or combat and blast. But you'll definitely want it by 150% for 5 seconds. Definitely want that. So we'll go to the characters that make do with the CTP of Greed. All right, starting off at the list is Ghost Rider. Now, Ghost Rider is more like you can use him as a hybrid character. He's definitely really good for PvE. Definitely good. You can definitely use it for PvP. Also, if you have his artifact, which he has the undead passive artifact. He has iframe ignore. I think, yeah, on the 4th skill. So that's really good. You can definitely make it work. And he has damage reduction also. And he has that increase to super villains by 120%, which is very nice. So especially when you get his tier 4, that's when he really shines, and paired with the artifact. So definitely you can make a Greed work with Ghost Rider in World Battle or AC. All right, next, even though she's out of the meta, most people still use Jean Grey. She could definitely make do with a mighty CTP of Greed or Brilliant. She's still a little bit of trouble in PvP if Sentry is not in there. Like I said, she has damage reduction. She has the max revive. She has remove all debuffs, 80% chance to penetrate. She has a 6% heal on 18 seconds. She has iframe ignore on the 2nd. So she's still something to be dealt with. And if she pops her tier 4, she has that reflect. So she can still make do with a Greed, and especially for like PvE. If you want to do like double duty with Jean Grey and her artifact, which increases basic damage dealt to supervillains and superheroes. So Jean Grey would be a good option for a mighty or brilliant Greed. All right, next up we got Silver Surfer again. Now the Greed is more like I said, with the ambush effect, which is pretty decent, is more offensive. And if you do have a lot of dodge, he could definitely do it in Otherworld Battle. I wouldn't put him in PvP unless you got him tier 4. But Otherworld Battle and AC will probably be where you can see him do a little bit more with a mighty or brilliant Greed. And another character that could definitely make do with the Greed will probably be Hela. Just because of the ambush effect, and she can take down heroes with her passive, especially if you have her artifact. So Hela is next up on the mighty or brilliant Greed. All right, next is an old meta, Carnage. So if you have his artifact, he has the same undead passive artifact. As you see, I have the mighty Greed on him. I use mine mostly for Otherworld Battle. He's really good, really tanky. He does have the damage reduction, guard break immunity. His leadership is to all symbiotes, but he has 90% chance to penetrate. And I thought he had iframe ignore, but he doesn't. But they did make him. Yeah, he does. He does have it on the 3rd. I thought so. He does have a 10% heal, but he could definitely do it with a mighty Greed for PvP. So just be wary if you do have the artifact and you do want to kind of tell for using for that with a mighty or brilliant Greed. All right, next up on the list is Sentry. The mighty CTP of Greed will probably be your 2nd best choice for Sentry. Because of the ambush effect. Sentry is like running roughshod over PvP, still doing it. As you see, he does have the damage reduction. He has an iframe ignore on the 2 with the 20% chance, a heal. And he has 80% penetration, remove all debuffs. He has a revive. So this man is really stacked. So he could definitely make do with a Greed, especially with the artifact. It does increase his HP and basic damage increase to villains. So if you do have a Mighty Greed on your Sentry, then you're doing pretty good, especially with this. You give him to tier 4. He can definitely do it. And last but not least, my boy Wolverine. Again, this will probably be his best CTP, really. The Mighty Greed, or if you have a Brilliant, that'll work too. Because of the long iframe on the 5. When he has that long iframe going, you better just hold on to your socks. That's all I can say, because Wolverine is the man. Now, he can do PvE also with this uniform, with the Greed. So, if you don't want to swap him over to a proc obelisk, he could definitely do it with this one. A little key, but he can make it work also. All right, next up on the list is the Mighty or Brilliant Refinement, the Egg. You'll definitely want the Vitality on this one because it recovers HP. As you can see, it has a barrier, has nothing but HP on it. So this is going to be like mainly like for PvP or Otherworld Battle or AC. So I'm going to give you probably the best 5 characters for this CTP, maybe 6. You'll definitely use for like PvP or Otherworld Battle. All right, at the bottom we got Jean Grey, which she could make it work with a Mighty Egg because of the heal, all the HP. She has all the HP. As you can see, I have almost 128,000. So if she had that, she would be a whole lot harder to take down because you're steadily chipping away. And once she hits that Vitality, it's probably over with. So the CTP of Refinement would probably be a good choice if you didn't have a Mighty or Brilliant Greed. So you can definitely make it work for your Jean Grey. All right, we have Thanos again. Like I said, just because the HP he does have on his passives and his skills and all that, he could definitely make do with a Mighty or Brilliant Refinement also. Because Thanos, he is a pain. But if he goes up against Wolverine, then he has trouble. But other than that, though, if you Brilliant Egg, then you could probably see a bit difference in Thanos. All right, next up, again, we have Carnage. So, as you can see, my Carnage has 145,000 HP. If I gave him a Mighty Egg, it will probably jump up to almost 160, which is insane for a combat character. He could definitely make do with a Mighty or Brilliant Egg, especially like if you're still running with Timeline Battle, but definitely in Otherworld Battle and AC. All right, next we're going to go ahead and give it to Wolverine. Or if you don't want to do that with Wolverine, you can build him up, build your his son up, Dakin. Definitely give Dakin a Mighty or a Brilliant CTP Refinement. As you can see, I have one on mine. Waiting to get his artifact, but more HP, the more he could work for you. Because the third skill does have the iframe ignore, and he does pretty decent. He does pretty decent, but I just got to get my hands on the artifact, like his dad. He's like the mini version of his dad in PvP. If you already have your Wolverine built and you need another combat character, so Wolverine or Dakin can definitely make a Mighty or Brilliant Egg work because of all the HP they do have and the iframe ignore. Next list on the CTP is the Mighty CTP of Destruction, or if you have a Brilliant, you definitely want the Strike proc on this CTP. A regular Destruction is just like a regular crit damage obelisk, so it has to be reforged to be better. All right, so these are my top 10 for the CTP of Destruction. All right, starting from the bottom, we got Hela. Like I said, she could definitely do PvE content and Timeline Battle. As you can see, I do have a Mighty CTP of Destruction on mine because I was climbing Ultron, so she's very easy to play. So you could definitely use this for kind of like a hybrid build for PvP and PvE if you wanted to. But like I said, Hela is a pretty decent choice for the CTP of Destruction if you have a Mighty. All right, next on the list we have Shadow Shell, which Shadow Shell is a very good speed character in her new uniform, which she is a base universal, but she's very proc friendly, pretty good DPS. She can climb world boss, and very fun to play as far as a transcendent character. So, but yes, Shadow Shell can use a Mighty or Brilliant Destruction to climb world boss content. Next on the list we have Gamora, another speed character. She's very proc friendly also. She could definitely use a Mighty or Brilliant CTP of Destruction if you want to climb world boss also. So just giving you some heads up on if you do have the uniform, you have at least a Mighty Destruction, you can definitely give it to Gamora, and she does pack a pretty good punch. As you can see, her tier 2 passive is really good. She gives herself skill damage, bonus damage, and increased damage to heroes and villains, which is very, very good. And she does have her own leadership, and especially for speed type characters, 6% of physical attack, so that's really good. Next up on the list is Beta Ray Bill. Beta Ray Bill is proc friendly also, so if you don't have a judgment or an energy, you could definitely give him a Mighty or Brilliant Destruction for some World Boss Legend content, because he does have the leadership tag, so he can take advantage of like White Fox, so on and so forth, and that's about it really. But other than that though, he can do certain World Boss Legend stages with a Mighty CTP of Destruction. All right, next up on the list is Sharon Rogers. Sharon Rogers is the most proc friendliest character out there in the game. She's very good high DPS. You don't have to take her tier 4 at all unless you know it's your favorite character. Now, maybe like if you want to take her in like World Boss Legend Plus, definitely got to take her to tier 4. But she's pretty decent at level 80. So, but she can use a Mighty or Brilliant Destruction if you do not have an. All right, and last but not least, we have Cable. Now, with Cable, he was meta for ABX, ABL, kind of, especially like ABL for Mutant Day Blast. But if you want to climb World Boss Legend, in which I had to figure that out the hard way with Kang, switch him over to a Mighty or Brilliant Destruction because he's very proc friendly, and it works. Trust me, it works. So Cable can definitely use a Mighty CTP of Destruction if you have one and you have Cable. Next, we have the Mighty CTP of Judgment or Brilliant. But this CTP, you really don't have to have it reforged just yet. It's better if it is reforged, but this is one of the CTPs that you can get by without being it reforged. But if you do have a reforged Judgment, the type application is the best role for it. And I'm going to show you the best characters for this CTP because it does have to deal with elemental damage. Alright, starting off with my boy Human Torch. Human Torch is a great character for this CTP because he has a lot of burst damage, a lot of speed, he's very proc friendly. As you can see, I do have a Mighty Judgment on mine. I've had it on there for a long time. He can climb certain world boss stages. If you have him tier 4, that's great. But there's not that many stages that you can use them on. So and he really doesn't have any other content, but he still is a great character for most stages for World Boss Legend. So CTP of Judgment is the best CTP for Human Torque. Next up, Beta Ray Bill. Beta Ray Bill, with the new uniform, he deals fire, because his base form is lightning. So he still deals lightning on his awakening skill, but everything else is fire. And he has a leadership for fire. But yeah, Beta Ray Bill is a great candidate for a CTP of Judgment. Also, he's very proc friendly. He's a whole lot better with this uniform. Godly, really. Once you get him to tier 4, you can take him into World Boss Legend Plus to be a damage dealer or support character for any elemental character. Next on the list, we have Spider-Man Miles Morales. So, if you don't have this uniform, at least we got another month before Black Friday. Miles Morales is busted. I like playing with him. He deals lightning, so a CTP of Judgment is the best CTP for him. You can use him with an energy, but the best one for him that could, show his worth is a CTP of Judgment. So if you do have a mighty, like I said, make sure it's rolled to the type amplification, because he's really good, really good. Like I said, he deals lightning damage, so that's why CTP of Judgment will be best for Miles. Next on the list is Thor. Now, most players are going to run him with another CTP that I'm going to show later. But a CTP of Judgment is pretty decent on Thor also. He's pretty, I wouldn't say proc friendly, but you can make it work. In which a Judgment you really don't have to be on the proc anyway, because it's still like just amplifying your elemental damage. So Thor can make a CTP of Judgment work until you get another CTP. But like I said, he can do some work in GBR, World Boss Legend, ABL, and he kind of got replaced, which is very good because Thor is kind of slow in that game mode. But other than that, though, he's really good in World Boss and GBR. So a CTP of Judgment could be like your second best CTP for. Next up on the list, we have Shadow Shell. Shadow Shell is really great with a CTP of Judgment. All her skills are poison, so she does have elemental damage on her skills, so she can take advantage of that Judgment. As you can see, I have a Judgment on mine. She can do some high stages of World Boss Legend. Other ones she kind of struggles, but she's still a pretty good candidate for a CTP of. Alright, next up on the list we have Rogue. Now, if you don't have her Winter Ops uniform, I know it costs money for the female seasonals. She can still work with the Excalibur uniform because it still deals elemental damage. So Rogue, that would be her best CTP really as a Judgment. So Rogue would probably come in second on this list for a Judgment because of how high DPS she has. So like I said, a CTP Judgment is the best CTP for. Alright, next up on the list we have Ghost Rider. Now Ghost Rider can definitely use a CTP of Judgment because of the fire damage he does have on his skills. He has high DPS, very fun to play. He's really good for World Boss and GBR, and you can still use him for PvP if you have his artifact, but the CTP of Judgment will probably be his second best. So the grade will be the third best, and the Judgment will be the. And last but not least, we have Luna Snow, which is Very, very good. So if you don't have this uniform, you'll probably be waiting for another couple years if the game is still around. For her to maybe get a crystal uniform. But she could make a judgment work, kind of. But that would probably be like her second best CTP. So Luna Snow is still one of the best speed female characters in the game. So if you do have a judgment and you like Luna, then like I said, that could be her second. Alright, next up we have the Energy. Now the Energy, this is another CTP that you don't really have to have reforged yet. But once you do, you'll definitely want to go ahead and aim for the beatdown. So how the beatdown works is you have a little meter under your health bar, and you run around to fill it up. And then when you attack, as you can see, it gives increased additional pierce damage, and it increases additional pierce damage of concentration. So the beatdown proc, as they call it, is really good, and these are the characters that could make you work. Starting off on the list is Cable. Like I said, Cable is kind of proc friendly with this uniform, the Heart of Darkness. I'll probably say the Energy will probably be his second best CTP, behind the Destruction. I like playing with him better with the Destruction because of the penetration. But he can make a CTP of Energy work for you in GBR. And next up on the list, we have Beta Ray Bill again. Beta Ray Bill is, like I said in the previous list, he's very proc friendly. As you can see, I have an Energy on my Beta Ray Bill because he did pretty good with an Energy. So I'm going to just keep it on him until I get an extra judgment. So the Energy will probably be his second best CTP to use because of his proc friendliness, and he does have a lot of DPS, so he's very good with it. So I'll probably say the second best CTP for Beta Ray Bill would be an Energy. The first option would probably be a Judgment. Then the third would probably be an Insight. So he has a little dual action with the DPS and being a support character. So, but yeah, he can make a CT. Next up on the list, we have Gamora. So this list is mostly like for level 80s and level tier 4s. But before you get into level 80, you can still use these characters. That's fine. So Gamora, she's very easy to play. She's kind of more easier with the raid CTP. So an Energy will probably be her second best CTP. Cause I will give her a 6 or 7 out of 10 on proc friendliness. But she can make it work. So if you do have a spare Energy, you could give it to Gamora, Climb, and World Boss Legend, because she does pretty good on some stages. So especially for like a female alien, or she has another tag, Weapons Master or Agility. So she does have some stages of World Boss she can. Next up on the list is Adam Warlock. Now, Adam Warlock, you could use a greed with him, in which I didn't have him on the list. But really, I have a brilliant Energy that I've had. He can play with an Energy with in timeline battle. So I've never changed him over to anything else. So if you do have a mighty or brilliant Energy, you can have the all attack, all defense. Mine, I had it, well, it was rolled to a beatdown, but probably the best one would be an all defense, all attack. But CTP of Energy, he could definitely make work. He's 4 or 5 out of 10 for PvE. but you'll mainly be using Adam Warlock for timeline battle or otherworld battle. So he can't CTP of energy work. Next up on the list we have Deadpool. Alright, so Deadpool, he has 2 uniforms, one for PvE, one for PvP. I've done some testing off camera with Deadpool and timeline. So he's kind of like Adam Warlock. He can make a mighty or brilliant CTP of energy work also for timeline battle, and he's pretty good for PvE. I would probably say he's proc friendly, kind of. So he could definitely make a CTP of energy work, especially if you had a mighty or brilliant. And I have the all defense, all basic attack rolled on it. So he's pretty decent. He's pretty decent. So he's kind of has the duality of doing both PvE and PvE. So this uniform is for PvP, and Nice Pool is for PvE. So he could definitely make a CTP of energy work out if you wanted to. Last but not least, we have Sharon Rogers, the queen of the CTPs of energy. So that's going to be her best CTP. First option. Sharon Rogers has a high DPS. She's very powerful. As you can see, I have the beat down on her. I had the CTP on her for the longest. Every uniform she had, in which I never even played with this one. It's always been either this one, or this one. And she's delivered. So this one is really her best uniform. So, like I said, the CTP of energy, she could definitely make work because of her high power on her tier 3. So that's where her power is, her tier 3, because she does have penetration, and she has a 110% damage proc on it with accumulation. So that is ridiculous. That's crazy. So the CTP of energy would be Sharon Rogers if you had one. Alright, now we have the CTP of Rage. Now, if you only have one, that's fine. You don't have to have it reforged just yet. But when you do get it reforged, it needs to have the Enraged proc on it. 160 is the lowest roll, and 200 is the best roll on a Mighty or Brilliant CTP. In which a Brilliant has, I think, 220 is the highest roll. But anyway, the Mighty CTP is like basically for ABX, ABL, GBR. That's where you're going to see this kind of shine. But you can make it work for World Boss. So these are my best characters for a CTP of Rage. Starting off on the list, we have Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange, that's going to be his best CTP, really, because of the how you want to put it, the canceling skills. You can't just instantly cancel his skills. You have like delays on them, especially the 6 and the 5. The 6 and the 5 you have to delay super late. But with Doctor Strange, that's going to be his best CTP, because he's like a spam monster. But you can make it work. So just CTP will be a Rage. Next up on the list, we have the king of ABX and ABL, and some World Boss Legend content and GBR. Magneto. Magneto can definitely make Mighty or Brilliant CTP of Rage work. He's a spam monster also, but he makes it work. He is really, really powerful, really good. As you can see, I have a Mighty. It's rolled to the 200 proc, enraged. So I scored pretty decent in ABX and ABL with the Rage. Once you get your hands on a Brilliant, see what he can do for your account. Next up on the list is my boy Hulk. Now Hulk he's different. All right, so with the earlier uniforms, he can make it work with, and he can make work with an egg or a regen. because of his HP. His damage is based off his HP. But the best CTP for this uniform would definitely be a Rage for ABX and ABL, because he kind of replaced Dr. Octopus because he's a whole lot easier to play. He's kind of proc friendly, but you definitely need that Rage to kind of maximize your scores in ABX and ABL. He's pretty decent in GBR also. As you can see, I have a Rage on my Hulk. So, but everything's still based off his HP. So if you don't have a Rage, then you could probably use him with the regen, but I would say maximize your Hulk. Alright, next up on the list we have Jean Grey. Now Jean Grey, she could do PvP 2 with the Rage. I've done it before. That's what I have on mine as a Mighty Rage. And I still use mine for ABX and ABL sometimes. I know I do her in ABX, but ABL it depends. And she's very good in GBR also. And she could definitely do World Boss Legend. Some of the high-end content anyway. So, Jean Grey is an option for the CTP of Rage. Next up on the list, we have Dr. Doom with his God Emperor uniform. I'm still seeing everybody say Buff Doom. This uniform is not for PvP. It's for PvE only. Because his last uniform, you could make work for PvE, but it was more of a PvP uniform. So this uniform is really good for PvE, and the way his gameplay is, a CTP of Rage would be your best option. So Dr. Doom with the God Emperor uniform, the best CTP would be a Rage. He can do World Boss Legend content, GBR, and he can't really do AVX and ABL because of the gameplay and because of his the way his skills are. But he could definitely do World Boss Legend content for you, so probably be your best bet for Dr. Doom. Alright, next up on the list is Thor. Now, the Rage is going to be Thor's best CTP. For some reason, he does outperform with a Rage instead of a Judgment. But, like I said, he could do either or. Just depend on what you have in your inventory. But the CTP of Rage is pretty good for Thor, especially if you have the All-Father Reborn uniform. The last uniform, the Love and Thunder, is good, but this uniform right here is a little too for the Rage. Next up on the list we have Loki. Now Loki's still hanging on in ABL, but you have to have like a max build and a brilliant CTP of Rage to get like max scores. I only have a Mighty, so but the way Loki plays for ABX and ABL, Rage would be your best bet for Loki. Next up on the list we have Ghost Rider again. Now Ghost Rider, this CTP would probably be the best CTP for Ghost Rider. Because of how his gameplay is, and like I said, he does have a lot of delay canceling. As you can see, I do have a Mighty Rage on mine. This will probably be his best, and the Judgment will probably be his second best. So it's weird with elemental characters that some of them can do better with the Rage, just because of their playstyle, mainly. So if you have the Rage Return uniform, it's a Halloween uniform, a seasonal, will be on sale in a couple weeks. But this is his best uniform to date. Now, if you don't have it and you have this uniform, it's decent, but he's very, very, very squishy. I'll say that he cannot take a hit at all. He doesn't have a heal on it. It was a decent uniform back then, but it just doesn't have a heal. This is his best, and he could definitely outperform with a rage. Last but not least, we have my girl Luna, again, queen of ABX and ABL. She could definitely make a CTP of rage work. That would be her first option. Judgment would be the second. So just because of her spamming skills, you have to spam all her skills. But she can make a mighty or a brilliant rage work. And if you just have a regular rage, she can make one. So that would be her best CTP to date. Last but not least, I didn't include it with the PvP CTPs at first, the Mighty Conquest. Now, the Conquest, it's okay, per se. So certain characters can make it work, and certain other ones kind of make it look bad, I guess. But I'm going to give you my opinion on this, on the CTP of Conquest. It's for PvP, because it does have like PvP properties in it. So, but if you do have a mighty or brilliant Conquest for every reason, you'll want the clash effect because it does increase basic damage by 60%, which is very nice. It has guard break and recovery rate and a wall, all that stuff. So these are kind of, my opinion, the characters that can use a Conquest to its advantage. Alright, starting off from the bottom, we're going to go ahead and go with Wolverine. Wolverine could make it work. It's more off. It's kind of off, really offensive, kind of, and defense, the way it's set up. But he could make it work. I've used it before on Wolverine to test it out. But me personally, I like him better with a greed. So I'll probably put a Conquest, a best second for Wolverine, and a greed first. But if you do have a mighty greed and you don't have, a mighty or a brilliant Conquest for every reason, and you don't have a greed, I would probably just give it. There are better options for that CTP. Next up on the list will be Deadpool, also for PvP. You definitely need his artifact too. If you don't have the artifact, then I would not put him in PvP because he is very, very, very squishy. And plus, he's a speed character, and there are a lot of Wolverines out there. So if you do have the artifact, then he could definitely make a CTP of Conquest kind of work. I like him better with an energy, but I would probably say you could say either or, just depending on your build, on your cards, and all that stuff. Definitely make a CTP of Conquest work if you don't have an energy. Next up on the list, we have Silver Surfer. Back then, Silver Surfer's best CTP was a regen. But now, since the regen is basically like fodder, I guess, he can definitely make a Conquest work. Like I said, I'm still not a big fan of Silver Surfer with this uniform, but it is what it is. I do have a Mighty Conquest on my Silver Surfer. He's okay with it, but I kind of use him as fodder in timeline battle. That's me personally. I just wasn't big on the Silver Surfer hype train when this came out because it seemed worse to me, but that's my opinion. You can probably make yours do a little bit better than mine. That's fine. But Mighty CTP would probably be your best CTP for Silver Surfer. Next up on the list, we have Thanos. Thanos for PvP and Otherworld Battle can definitely make a Conquest work because of how his skills are and how tanky he is. He has that one shot on the 2 skill where he like teleports behind you, and he has that iframe ignore. That was annoying. That was annoying when he first came. So, but he can definitely make a CTP of Conquest work for you. So that will probably be the best CTP for Thanos. And if you don't have one, then either a Mighty or a Regen would work also. And last but not least, the list is pretty short just because of PvP. But the man of the hour, Sentry. Sentry with this uniform is godly with a CTP of Conquest. You have to have it reforged to be Mighty, or you can get your hands on a Brilliant, which I did, which is it was very, very, very nice. So with a Brilliant Judgment, Conquest, this man claps. This man is godly for PvP. So this would be his best CTP by far. So the Greed would be very, very close second, and the Conquest would be the #1 option for this guy right here. So if you can get your hands on 2 Conquests, make sure you smash them together. Get you the Clash effect and slap it on Sentry if you don't have any other CTP on him. So that's my list for the CTPs. Later on, if I do get another liberation, I'll smash them together and then do some testing or whatever. But most of these CTPs, like I said, need to be reforged, and some you can make work without, like the Rage, Energy, or the Judgment and the Insight. The Insight does not have to be reforged at all to make it work. So hit me in the comment box down below. Let me know what y'all guys think of my